You are listening to Greg and his friends talk sports. 10 to 20 minutes every day, Greg and his friends are talking about what Central Indiana sports fans are talking about. Every day on the Central Indiana Sports Report.
Welcome, Central Indiana sports fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report for my new podcast, Greg and his friends talk sports. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, and this is my new daily podcast. 10 to 20, sometimes 30 minutes, my friends and I talk about what Central Indiana sports fans are talking about. Coming up, Purdue dominated IU, and our Purdue guy Jake Dunn and our IU guys Mike Hutsell and Grant Shouse discuss it, and it was a wild discussion. We'll have a bit of that coming up on this podcast, then the full discussion later on the Central Indiana Sports Report. And the Pacers had an incredibly successful road trip to Washington, plus scores and highlights from high school basketball and wrestling state finals. Also, I will look ahead to Saturday, including all the postseason matchups and a showdown for the MAC championship in women's basketball between Ball State and Miami. I talked to Cade Hampton of the Muncie Star-Press about that one. Before we get to all of that, I want to let you know what's going on at the Central Indiana Sports Report. I'm going to have a very busy Saturday because I'm a little bit behind. Coming up in a few minutes, IU and Purdue full reaction with Jake Dunn, Mike Hutsell, and Grant Shouse. Also, we'll have full recaps of Friday night's boys basketball games between Elwood and Oak Hill, Frankton and Alexandria, and Blackford and Northwestern. Coming up on Monday is our Pacers report with Mike Rich. Thanks so much for joining us. My friends and I will be back tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the day after that. Purdue had perhaps its best performance of the season, and it could not have come at a better time. The 3-4-year Boilermakers, Braden Smith, Trey Kaufman-Wren, and Fletcher Lawyer combined for 53 points and 15 assists. Purdue won 93-64 at Mackey Arena over the Hoosiers on Friday night. It was 17 points by halftime. It was over early in the second half. The Boilermakers now lead the all-time series 128-93. That also debated on the podcast coming out later Saturday. Let's just say the IU guys did not want to let Jake and me celebrate very much. It starts with me trying to get us back on track after the IU guys tried to derail this podcast by claiming that Purdue's entire basketball history is a myth. Jake, let's talk about the Purdue win tonight.
Certainly nice to see Purdue kind of bounce back here. To your point, Greg, Tuesday was a little disappointing, but Purdue came out fired up. I think the senior class here, at least the big three, if you will, TKR, Fletcher Lawyer, and Braden Smith, they ended up combining for 53 points.
In the first half, I don't think anybody else scored except for those three. It didn't seem like.
At half, those three combined for 37 points. Not a lot of scoring from other people there, but they were in total control of the game. IU didn't lead for a single second in this game, so it was a good bounce back here from Purdue, and that was kind of built by late in the first half. Purdue went on a run. They hit 10 of their last 12 shots in the first half. And then early in the second half, TKR and Fletcher Lawyer combined for first 12 points of the game. And that really ballooned the lead there to 23 and caused IU to use a couple of their timeouts. And Mackey Arena proves it's one of the best environments in college basketball.
In Mackey Arena tonight, do you think that, no question it played a factor, but do you think it really played a factor to where Indiana just played horrendous?
If it's your first time, Jake, it's really tough in there.
I have not been at IU this year, so I don't know what their home environments have been like this year, but that's a tough place to play as well. So they've been in a similar environment, so I'm sure they were a little bit prepared for it, but certainly I'm sure the environment played a little bit of a factor, but it just didn't really look like they really wanted to be there. You mentioned, Greg, that they shot 67% from the field. I believe they showed when they were interviewing Matt Painter at the end, that was the highest percentage ever in the Matt Painter era. And this offensively just looked elite tonight, which is refreshing.
Well, from an Indiana perspective, it's been the same story pretty much all year. Grant, you can agree or disagree. It's like Indiana, you have about a 90% idea of whether or not they're going to win the game when you sit down to watch it. Indiana's going to beat the teams they're supposed to beat. They're going to lose to the teams they're supposed to lose to. At some point, it's just, are they going to compete? And these last two games, they haven't even really done that. Purdue, to their credit, tonight they came out with the mindset of guys are going to beat us, but it's not going to be Lamar Wilkerson. It's not going to be Tucker DeVries. And you saw in the first half, Conway and Bailey are the two guys getting buckets for Indiana in the first half. And Lamar Wilkerson didn't hit a shot in the first half of the game. He got going in the second half, but it was way out of reach by then. Tucker, as frustrating as it is, he actually played well tonight. He shot well. He scored 11 points in the first 21 minutes of the game, and I don't think he shot the ball after that.
And he had some really tough shots, too.
If you go back to the Marquette game, when he's on, he's unstoppable. He had 30 points in the first half of that game, and I'm not comparing Purdue and Marquette defensively in any way, shape, or form. I hope you don't think that, but that's just the type of player that he is. He can be one of those guys that gets on a roll and keeps a team in a game or wins you a game. And tonight he looked like he had that ability. He just didn't force the issue. And this team, more than any team I've ever watched, Indiana over the course of 47 years, they just don't. If it's hard, they don't want to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
It was going to be hard to win tonight. You were going to have to do things to get your shot that you might not normally have to do because the other team was playing really good defense and hard-nosed and up in you defensively, which really isn't even typically Purdue style, but they did it tonight. And Indiana they took what was there, which was Reed Bailey going one-on-one in the post. He got his 8 to 10 points in the first half, and then defensively they were just like a piece of toilet paper that you put in the bathtub. They just could not stop anything. It was horrible. There's 2 games in a row where they played that way, and they're not good enough to compete if they're not defending. Well, Purdue was at like 1.4 points per possession, I think, at some points tonight. That's absurd.
You're just not going to win games when that happens. That's a given.
Again, that was a very fun discussion with the IU guys trying to derail our joy as Boilermaker fans. The Hoosiers host Northwestern on Tuesday. Purdue hosts Michigan State on Thursday. The Pacers went 0-2 in back-to-back games in Washington, 131 to 118. Cannot have asked for a better result. I know this sounds horrible. It sounds like loser talk. And if it happened more than once every 30 years for the Pacers, I'd be disgusted by it. But it's just one time and really want a top 4 pick. The second half of the season needs to be all about playing the young guys and compiling the losses, at least to assure that they're in the bottom 3 to get the best possible odds for the May 10th draft lottery. Jay Huff led the Pacers with 22, and Indiana's 4 players off the bench combined for 53 points. Quentin Jackson, 21. Micah Potter, 18. Again, no Neesmith, no Nembhard, no Siakam. Almost no way they're going to be winning games. Indiana now has 4 straight games at home at the Fieldhouse starting Sunday at 5 against Dallas. Sunday's Greg and his friends talk sports will be immediately following the Pacers game and the IHSA boys basketball draw Sunday night. Our boys basketball scores for Friday night. We start in the CIC, and that's where 2A number 2 Oak Hill beat Elwood 55-19. They outscored the Panthers 20-0 in the second quarter. The Golden Eagles complete the CIC unbeaten for the third time in 5 years. We have a full report coming out later Saturday on this one with Grant Shouse and Elwood head coach Ryan Van Skyok. Alexandria improved to 12-8 with a 66-47 win over Frankton in the Eagles' 9-game winning streak. The Tigers have now won 4 in a row. They're 7-2 since January 3rd. And it looks like it's probably bad injury news for Frankton too. We'll have a full report on that one coming up a little later today with Kyle Williams and Frankton head coach Brent Robston. Eastbrook erased a 13-point deficit and defeated rival Mississinewa 59-55. Eastbrook has won 5 in a row, that coming on the heels of a 6-game losing streak. They are now 11-9. Mississinewa has lost 5 in a row and 8 of 9. Blackford defeated Northwestern 77-51. The Bruins scored the first 12 points of the game and led by as many as 15 points in the first quarter. Sophomore Mari Leggett had 28 points and 11 assists and was 5 for 6 from the field for 13 points in the first quarter. And 2A number 14 Lapel defeated Madison Grant 69-48. The Bulldogs have won 5 in a row and 10 of 11. Madison Grant has lost 4 straight. In the Hoosier Conference playoffs, on Thursday night, West Lafayette won the conference championship by beating Logansport. On Friday, for third place, Benton Central defeated Western 73-68. Hamilton Heights beat Lafayette Central Catholic 70-45 for fifth place. Hamilton Heights is 12-1 in their last 13 games. Twin Lakes defeated Tipton 69-67 for seventh place. It's the 7th straight loss for the Blue Devils despite 30 points from Peyton Aller. There's only one conference game in the NCC tonight, and that was Lafayette Jeff 75-60 over Richmond. Also in the NCC, Lebanon beat Marion 64-56. The Giants are now 5-14. North Central 90-66 over Muncie Central, and Anderson handed Kokomo its only NCC loss of the year, 53-37. Of course, the Wildcats clinched the conference championship last week. Hoosier Heartland Conference champion Sheridan improved to 17-3 with a 72-44 win over North Montgomery. Trey Page led the Blackhawks with 18 points and went over 1,000 for his career. It's the 4th straight win for Sheridan. Eastern won its 7th game in a row, beating Lakeland Christian 71-29. Tri-Central beat Clinton Prairie 60-43. Jay Jankowiak 17 points for the Trojans. Taylor is 14-7 after beating Carroll 75-37. Traders Point 58-53 over Clinton Central. Class A number 7 Rossville defeated Western Boone 74-46. The Hornets now 17-4. In the Hoosier Crossroads, Noblesville beat Avon 56-46 for its 10th win of the season. Hamilton Southeastern won its 6th game in a row, beating Brownsburg 60-37. Westfield 67-59 over Franklin Central. Drew Hafner and Brock Dedamore scored 18 points apiece in the Shamrocks' 4th straight win. The 13-7 Rocks have won 7 of 8. And Fishers won its 52nd consecutive regular season game, defeating Zionsville 66-42. And they'll be heavy favorites against North Central in their regular season finale, so they should enter the postseason unbeaten for the 2nd straight year. Also in Hamilton County, Warren Central upset 4A number 8 Carmel 55-52 in overtime. In the Hoosier Heritage Conference, 4A number 4 Mount Vernon defeated New Pal 61-46 for its 20th win of the season and to clinch the Hoosier Heritage Conference. Luke Girdle scored 24 points for Mount Vernon. Delta ended Class 3A number 6 Shelbyville's 6-game winning streak with a 55-51 win. The Eagles are 9-3 since January 14th. Newcastle handed 2A number 11 Shenandoah a 53-41 defeat. 41 points, the season low for the Raiders. And Greenfield Central defeated East Central 60-52. In Delaware County, Class A number 10 Monroe Central beat Cowan 68-35. Monroe Central's won 4 in a row. To Sean Beatty, 18 points for the Bears. And Cowan's at Elwood tonight. Class A number 14 Morristown beat Burris 59-38. Morristown 4 straight wins in 8 of 9. Wapahani beat Daleville 70-61. And Westdale got its 5th win of the year 45-42 over Blue River. Julian Carpenter 13 points to lead the Warriors. And a couple of big games in Indianapolis. 4A number 3 Pike defeated 4A number 7 Lawrence Central 68-64 for the Metro Indy Conference. Lawrence North beat Pike 58-55 in overtime to win the Marion County earlier in the year. So those two teams are clearly very even. And Ben Davis beat 3A number 2 Cathedral 72-59. The first round of the state finals in boys wrestling was on Friday night. All of the following winners from Friday night will wrestle 3 times on Saturday to determine 1st through 8th in each weight class. Advancing locally, Delta had 5 wrestlers advance. Freshman Carson Kalakamo at 103, senior Cade Jackson at 112, sophomore Reed Wicker at 126, junior Jensen Boyd at 132, and junior Samuel Mosier at 144. Also locally, Westfield top-ranked sophomore Connor Maddox advanced at 103, Marion senior Hickson Love at 132, New Pal senior Gunnar Butt and Cowan sophomore Ashton Goney will continue to wrestle today at 150 pounds. Rossville's Jacob Weaver and Cowan's Jackson Bradley at 157. Noblesville's junior Aiden Kincaid at 165. At 175 pounds will be Rossville senior Jacob Cole. A couple of local wrestlers will continue to wrestle on Saturday at 215 pounds. That's Fisher's junior Julian Burgett and New Pal senior Colin Witzel. And at 285 pounds is New Pal junior William Gleason. The quarterfinals at the Field House in downtown Indianapolis have just gotten underway. It'll be the quarterfinals followed by the semifinals, and then the consolation matches will be wrestled at 4:30 with the championships beginning at 7:30 Saturday night. We'll have all the details for you on Sunday's Greg and His Friends Talk Sports. A quick look ahead to a very busy Saturday, including the girls basketball regionals. Most of our attention will be on Frankfort, where Oak Hill and LaPel will play in separate semifinals. Of course, we previewed that one with the Marion Chronicle Tribune sports editor Scott Hunt earlier this week. Boys wrestling state finals, as I just mentioned, and boys swimming sectional championships are also on Saturday, and we will have results on Sunday. We also have some good boys basketball games in the CIC. Alexandria at Tri-Central, Madison Grant at Eastern, Blackford at Snyder, Cowan at Elwood. Some other games of local interest. Hamilton Heights goes to Jay County. Lafayette Jeff at Tipton, Lewis Cass at Western. Wapahani hosts Yorktown. Pendleton Heights goes to Muncie Central. And 2A number 5 Centerville goes against Class A number 8 Liberty Christian. In men's college basketball, number 11 Bethel is at number 3 Indiana Wesleyan in the NAIA Crossroads. The Wildcats a very small chance at winning a share of the conference championship with Grace. That's because Bethel upset number 2 Grace on Wednesday. And in women's college basketball, Ball State is in Oxford to face Miami for the lead of the MAC championship. That game is at 1 o'clock. The Cardinals have a half-game lead on the RedHawks and look to avenge their only conference loss of the year, 72-52 in Muncie on January 24th. And here's Muncie Star-Press sports editor Cade Hampton to preview it.
This is probably the biggest game of the year so far for the Ball State women, not just because it's for first place in the conference, but the only team that's beaten them in the conference so far, and they get a chance for a little revenge on Saturday.
Like you mentioned, their only loss in MAC play so far is to the Miami, Ohio RedHawks that they're going to see tomorrow. And it wasn't just a loss. I mean, it was a straight up butt whooping. I mean, they got, flat out from start to finish. Miami was in control of that game. Third quarter, things really got out of hand for them. And Miami just really looked like a different beast in that game. And I don't think it's necessarily that Ball State, can't hang with them. I just think they kind of had a bad day.
Yeah.
And, but man, Miami matches up really, really well. They have a sophomore forward, Isla DeVries, who just absolutely feasted on them last time. Ball State has two really good bigs in Bree Salenbine and Tessa Towers, and neither one of them could handle her on either side of the court. I think she had a career high in scoring last time they played, and defensively she kind of seemed to frustrate Towers a little bit as well, who has been kind of the engine of the Ball State offense this year. So they need those two to get going. I think those two are going to be key. Obviously, Salenbine has really turned it up even more so recently. I think she had a 32-point game the other night. So Ball State is still one of the top teams in the conference, and a win Saturday would go a long, long way towards locking up that 1 seed for the conference tournament again and winning the regular season title. But man, that Miami team certainly knows how to beat them, and it'll definitely be tougher on the road than it was at home. And hell, they lost by 20 at home. So.
Well, the good news is during the last week or so, Miami's shown a little bit of vulnerability while Ball State's been playing its best basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the response that Ball State has shown since that loss, I mean, obviously they haven't lost since then. And Miami has, they finally took a MAC loss. I think UMass got them on kind of a last-second shot. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how Ball State approaches and attacks that game. I believe the last game also Ball State was just pretty poor shooting performance. So if they can start knocking some shots down early, keep their confidence up, I think they can definitely make this one a much more interesting game than the last one was, because like I said, it was pretty much a Miami blowout the whole time.
All right, Cade, where are you going to be today? I know it's a busy Saturday.
Yeah, very busy Saturday. Unfortunately, can't make the trip out to Oxford, but I will be trying to keep up as much as I can. As far as my coverage, I am going to be at Huntington North at noon to cover Monroe Central girls basketball as they take on, I believe it's Fremont in the first round of the 1A North semi-state bracket. And then depending on how things go there, if they win in the first round, I'll stick around, cover them in the semi-state championship. If they lose in the first round, I'm going to planning to make my way down to Indianapolis to cover our wrestling state finalists. We have 9 wrestlers from the East Central Indiana region that I cover that are competing at state finals at Gainbridge Fieldhouse on Saturday. So some exciting stuff there.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And a couple of those guys have real shots at advancing through the tournament.
We have some really talented wrestlers. You've got Purdue signee from Cowan, Jackson Bradley, his senior season. He's had a really phenomenal career there for the Blackhawks, and he's ranked number 2 in the state. I believe he's ranked nationally as well for his weight class. So he's had a phenomenal postseason, and he definitely is a contender for state as well. And then Tylen Thrine down in Newcastle is also a senior, one of the top-ranked kids in the 138-pound class, and he has a legit shot to win it as well. And then, of course, you've got the 5 Delta Eagles that are pretty, well distributed throughout those lighter weight classes, and they all have been just on a tear this postseason. They're wrestling at their best right now, and I talked to those kids earlier this week, and they all seem locked in and ready to go. So a lot of excitement on the wrestling scene this year, and we'll see if we get a state champion or two this Saturday.
And also going to have some boys swimming sectional finals. It's going to be a busy day for Cade. Go check out his coverage at the Star-Press. Follow him on Twitter, all that. He's got some great coverage over there in Delaware County and beyond. Thanks so much for your time, Cade.
Of course, Greg. Thanks. I appreciate you having me on.
Final note, the Noblesville Boom are back in action in Noblesville at 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon against the Capital City Go-Go. Thanks so much for listening. My friends and I will be back tomorrow. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. I started that too early. And I love Susie.